Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. My name is Ross Benjamin of rbwins.com. And like every Friday, I'm joined by the man they call the Iceman, Mr. Jesse Schule of jesseschule.com, one of the finest handicappers you'll find anywhere, not only in the country, but in North America and possibly the world, the way he's going right now. Jesse, how are you, my friend?
Pleased to be with you again on a Friday, Ross. Things are still going pretty smoothly, still pretty upbeat, despite the fact that my football year-to-date records have dropped below 80%. We're still hovering between 75 and 80. So, we're not we're not panicking yet.
So speaking of that, exactly what are your records you could share with the audience, and where can they confirm those all as true? Because that's important, and it's important not only to them, it's important to both of us. So share that info with them.
Well, this is the deal, Ross. Last night, I had a player prop on Leonard Fournette, anytime touchdown. That was only available for my clients at Sports Memo because the only site that offers those kind of bets. I had Tampa Bay as the loser at every other site. So therefore, my records are going to be very similar at every site. Like I said, somewhere between 70 and 80% for college and NFL combined. However, they're going to vary a few percentage points at each site, depending on what bets available, whether they have first half lines, how early they get the lines out. As you know, some of the sites, we won't tarnish their reputation by mentioning their names, don't release football lines until Thursdays, and you end up getting different lines, and therefore you get different results, and that's beyond our control. But rest assured, the winning percentage between college and NFL sits between 70 and 80%, regardless of the site you're buying from.
Yeah, and that's true, folks, because different sites allow us different options. And also keep in mind, we may get a line on one site that's different on another, and the game ends up in as a middle, or the game ends up pushing on one site, losing on the other, pushing on one site, winning on the other. So, but when we give out these records, I can guarantee you, if you go to the sites we're on, site to site, you won't see a big disparity. As a matter of fact, you'll see very little disparity whatsoever, and will always be right in the neighborhood. So, again, transparency is huge. My NFL got off to a great start this year. I was 68% after the first 5 weeks of the NFL regular season. Since then, I've gone 5-9. Took a tough loss last night as I had the under 45 in that game, 10-3 at the half. And then Tampa Bay scores an, oh, by the way, touchdown on a fourth down play with 42 seconds to go. So it is what it is, but I'm still 57% on the year. I'm good with that. That's during the regular season. I was also 8-4 in the preseason. College football, which I was teetering around 500, and I told you guys I always go on a run around this time in college football, and lo and behold, I went 4-1 last week in college football. So my point being is we beat on our chest when we win, but we're transparent as well when we lose, which we haven't done much of on this channel. As a matter of fact, since last week, the handicappers on this site, including myself, I'm on 5 days a week. The rest of them, Doug's on twice a week, Jesse on once a week, Big Al and Sean Higgs on once a week. We're a combined 17-5 in the last 2+ weeks, including 2-0 last night as I cashed in with the Washington State Cougars plus the points, and Doug cashed in, Doug Upstone, that is, of DocSports.com, cashed in with the North Carolina State and Virginia Tech game over the total. So, and boy, was that a nice catch, Jesse. It was 3-0 at the half, and the game went over. So, anyway.
That's why I watch all these shows, Ross. I love to see what everybody's got to say. I want to hear what Big Al and especially Sean Higgs these days. Man, that was hot.
Yeah, and he's a volume handicapper, and he's killing it at Picks and Parlay. So, anyway, let's get her going here. So let's go right to our free picks in the NFL. And Jesse will be covering the 49ers and the Rams. I will be covering the Seahawks and the Giants. Jesse, the 49ers have owned the Rams in recent years, despite the fact the Rams won a world championship. They're a small favorite right now on the road. I believe they're -1.5 in this game. They opened as a dog. What do you got for us?
Well, Ross, you and I talked about the 49ers last week, and I guess that pick went well. We had Kansas City over San Francisco last week. So we expected the 49ers to lose that game. We also talked about Christian McCaffrey. Both you and I agreed that we didn't expect him to factor much into that game, and neither one of us really thought he was going to see much action. I was surprised.
Yeah.
He ended up getting 8 carries for 38 yards, 2 catches for 24 yards. So they used him more than I expected them to. I expect him to play a much bigger role, obviously, after another week of practice. He's got time to settle in there. This is a difficult game with all the injuries for the 49ers, but we're going on 2-3 weeks now that they've been battling these injuries. I'm expecting, maybe hoping, maybe half hoping and expecting them to get a little healthier. But as you mentioned, the 49ers do own the Rams. And this is a must win for the 49ers coming off back-to-back losses. I don't expect them to lose 3 straight. I'm not impressed with the Rams. They do appear to have the Super Bowl hangover. They don't have the squad they had last year. They don't appear to have that fire and the spirit they do last year. Stafford does not look good. They already lost to San Francisco once this year. Matthew Stafford was sacked 7 times in that game. A 24-9 loss at the beginning of October. Stafford has thrown for 1,576 yards, 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. The Rams failed to cover in 4 of their last 5 home games. Jimmy G on the other side for the 49ers, he takes a lot of heat. Jimmy G is not anybody's favorite quarterback. Not a real flashy guy. He's not going to wow you with his passing game, but he's got solid numbers this season. He is the same guy that took them to the Super Bowl a couple years ago, had a double-digit lead against the Chiefs, should have won if the coach had have called the plays properly. So Jimmy G is a guy that can be a game manager and get you a win. And like I say, with McCaffrey there now, adding a bit of a punch to the running game and the passing game, I'm hoping the 49ers are a little healthier, and I think they're the better team and they need it more than the Rams right now.
So San Francisco is -1.5. Let me double check on that. The last I looked, I think they're -1.5, but I'm assuming you're going to go with the money line, correct, Jesse, on this pick?
Always, Ross. I'm
Okay,
never going to take a 1.5 point favorite and have that possibility of losing by 1 point or half a point.
Yeah, I mean, I do the same thing. Look, if it's a favorite of 2.5 or less, and I like the favorite, as long as I don't have to, I'm a little different than you in the respect that I don't like to go over -135 on a money line pick. But in this particular instance, I don't think that comes into play. I think you'll be able to right now, or even in the next 24 hours, may be able to get San Francisco at a nice money line price of between -120 and -130. And like I always say, we don't hesitate to lay 120 or 130 or 135 on a Major League Baseball money line favorite. Why the heck wouldn't we do the same in the NFL if it increases our chances of winning? And that certainly does. Now, the chance of San Francisco, like, for example, in this particular instance, winning by 1, it happens, okay? But just think about this. Just think how you feel if you laid 1.5 and won by 1 instead of laying an extra 10 or 15 cents to get the win. So our point well taken. All right, let's go to the Giants and Seattle game, which is my game. The Giants, what a nice story. 6-1. Seattle as well. Everybody, including myself, looked at Seattle before the season started, and in my particular instance, I said they'd be lucky to win 4 or 5 games this year. Well, lo and behold, they've won 4 already. They're 4-3. This game kicks off at 4:25 p.m. Eastern time in Seattle. It opened with Seattle being a 2.5 point favorite. They're now up to 3. Here's the thing with the Giants. I mean, I think the odds makers, well, anyway, I don't know what the odds makers are thinking. Let me rephrase that. The odds makers sort of agree with me to the fact that the Giants are 6-1, but not sold on that 6-1 record. They played a relatively soft schedule so far, and give them credit. They've taken advantage of it. As a matter of fact, the Giants' only loss this year was to the Dallas Cowboys, and that was their only division game. The New York Football Giants are 6-0 straight up in ATS this year in non-division games. They're also 4-0 straight up in ATS in their last 4 overall. They're 5-0 straight up in ATS as an underdog this year, and they're 3-0 straight up in ATS on the road. In all 3 of those road games, they were an underdog. Seattle will be a favorite for only the second time this season, and the previous time they were a favorite, they lost to the Atlanta Falcons 27-23 at home. The Giants' defense has been solid this year. They do give up some yards, but it's sort of a bend but don't break mentality. As a matter of fact, the Giants have allowed 23 points or less in all 7 games this year. Conversely, the Seattle Seahawks on defense this year, allowing better than 26 points per game and close to 400 yards per contest. Not very good, but they're getting away with it. And here's the big thing for me. Seattle has allowed 144 yards or more rushing in 5 of 7 games this year. The New York Giants, on the other hand, this is a team that runs the ball very well. That's what they hang their hat on offensively. 173 yards per game rushing, 5.2 yards per attempt, which is outstanding. And that includes 200 yards per game on the ground and 5.9 yards per attempt on the road. So they tend to lean on the running game a little more heavily on the road than at home. And so I like the New York Giants in this spot, and especially when you consider this. NFL teams that are a pick or underdog of 3.5 or less playing games 5 through 9 in the season, basically the second quarter of the season, and they're coming off 4 or more wins in a row like the Giants are. They've gone 12-0 straight up in ATS since 2015 and winning by 8.8 points per game. That's right, folks. Pick or underdog of 3.5 or less, coming off 4 or more wins in a row. Games 5 through 9, 12-0 straight up in ATS and winning by 8.8 points per game. That's 12-0 straight up and 12-0 ATS. I emphasize that because the Giants are a 3-point underdog in this game. So I like the New York Giants, Jesse, plus the 3 against Seattle.
Can't argue with that. They've been a pleasant surprise this year.
So Jesse, I'm going to ask you to tell the folks what you may have coming up during the weekend. Your college football and NFL picks have been outstanding all year, and where you prefer they find you at.
Well, the best place to find me is at the source, which is jesseschule.com. Last Saturday, I was 6-1. My only loss was a college football game between Kansas State and TCU.
Oh.
Kansas State was up 28-10 in that game.
Yeah.
They had some quarterback injuries. Heartbreaker prevented me from wearing my famous yellow outfit. But, maybe this weekend. I've already got 3 college football plays up. Haven't loaded any NFL yet. I do have 3 plays up for tonight. I'm probably going to be adding a little bit more, both with college football and certainly with NFL. So, yeah, looking forward to another big weekend here.
Very good. JesseSchule.com, one of the hottest football handicappers you'll find anywhere right now. You can find me at rbwins.com. It's rbwins.com. Folks, like I said earlier, 27-20 with my NFL picks this year, 57%. College football coming off a 4-1 week. Here's a silver lining with the NFL. Even though I've struggled the last 2 weeks, my NFL 10-star top plays, which are the equivalent of most people's best bets, I've given out 8 of those picks in the first 7 weeks. Why 8? Because I gave out a Thursday night game in a month, and I normally give out my 10-star top play every Sunday. But in any event, those 8 plays, 8-0 right now with my NFL 10-star top plays. So my best bets have been cashing in at a high rate, obviously, 100%. You can't get much better than that. NFL primetime games, despite that tough loss last night, still 13-6 on the season. NBA 41-29 with my last 70 dating back to last year. And Major League Baseball 7-3 in the NHL, 2-1 so far this year. So again, find us at jesseschule.com, rbwins.com, where I guarantee that if you don't win, you don't make a profit on your daily single game or multi-game packages. I will not refund you. I will credit your account the exact amount of your purchase price. For Jesse Schule and Ross Benjamin, I'd like to wish each and every one of you all the very best. Take care. Good luck and God bless, folks.